All right, let's bring out those wide receivers drafted in 2025. Top 12 anyway. Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, Egbuka for Tampa was drafted as the third wide receiver taken. Matthew Golden was the fourth. And that ended the first round, I believe. Higgins, Luther Burden, Trey Harris for the Chargers, Jack Beck for Vegas, Kyle Williams for New England. They reached out to him. Tesla for Detroit, Pat Bryant, and Jalen Noel here. So was to bring him here. This is where they were taken. Second pick overall for Travis Hunter, eighth and 19th pick overall there for Ibuka in 23rd. Then you can see they waited the second round for Higgins. And this Kyle Williams would have been the third round. But so that's where they're taking. Well, here's where we've currently got them ranked. So the consensus ranking, you can see not too many very high. In fact, we're going to compare them to last year's and see where they are. So let's take a look at last year's draft class first. All right, so let's bring out the 2024 wide receivers drafted early last year. Of course, number one was Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunes. Brian Thomas Jr. went off. Worthy, Pearshaw got off to a slow start. Leggett, Keon Coleman here, Ladd McConkey, Polk, and Mitchell, and this Corley from the Jets. Didn't hear much from him. So, all right, here's where their overall picks were. You can see fourth pick overall for Harrison, sixth for Neighbors. Doomsday with 9, so we had 3 in the top 10 there. So here's the consensus ranked that they wanted. We wanted to compare these, how these compared to the last or this year's. Here's the consensus rankings. And of course, here's how they finished last year. Malik Neighbors, of course, 8th. Brian Thomas Jr. here, 4th, just a great finish. And Ladd McConkey. So you can get some value out of these top 10 wide receivers, at least that we did last year. So let's compare those rankings. All right, you get in here looking. Here's these rankings. I try to split screen them here. This is this year's Travis Hunter, the first one, highest ranked of all of them, 28th. Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. was 9th last year. And Travis Hunter was the second pick. Ted McMillan here, 31st ranking. Had Neighbors here ranked 24th and 40th for Doomsday. You can see they're all 38th, 39th here. Well, they're not giving this year's class near the amount of rankings they did last year. Of course, Pearshaw was missing and really get there. But boy, you can see just from these light rankings here, they're a lot lower on this year's class than they were last year. So get them some cheap bargain cheaper. Hey, you can't complain about the finishes last year, right? With that, you can get some my Neighbors here at 11 points. Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey, like I said. Hey, let's hope we'll pick one of these in here and get the right one, and maybe we'll hit and get that explosive rookie. All right, hit that subscribe button as the season gets closer. Our fantasy season, you want to be subscribed to get the latest. And give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Look at the war. I got them ranked the way I like them. Let's see who has the best chance to break out. How about McMillan here for Carolina? All right, 6'4", 212 pounds out of Arizona. They like that big size in those wide receivers. 8th pick overall. And you look, see how big he is compared to Young there. Next up, I have Ibuka. Right on the other one, he was comes into Tampa. Right, 6'1", 202 pounds. Out of Ohio State. 19th pick overall. Hey, ranked 49th, but hey, he goes to the number 3 team in passing, the number 4 team in scoring. That's going to help, right? So, hey, it is kind of, you can see he's ranked up to 49th now. They're pretty well steady here. Well, a lot of it depends on his teammates. It's Chris Godwin. See, they've recently moved him down to 35th. The news there is, hey, no guarantee he's going to be ready. We never really thought he would be. They kind of took this Ibuka to fill in some holes, maybe, right? Baker Mayfield said Ibuka's real deal. He could plug and play in any of the 3 wide receiver spots right now. And glowing reports out of him. So, hey, the play here, of course, is you just get on a good team. And Mike Evans, you see, last year, Look at those 4 games he missed. So Ibuka can fill in his position while he's out, right? And of course, Godwin last year missed all. He was hot start, but missed all those games. And McMillan's there, who filled in last year. But you got this Ibuka to fill in this year. Things could just go promising in a hurry, especially on the number 3 team offense. I mean, that's a good place to start. And of course, McMillan over here, moving him up just a little bit. Bryce Young says he's done a really good job learning things, knows where to line up, knows the playbook, smart, and the coach speak, of course, making players look better around him. So a real promise here. Got that big size. He'll fit right in as their number 1, right? I mean, there is no one else. Adam Thielen, aging veteran here, but. And Leggett, who didn't, hey, they took him last year, but he didn't fire as good. Has looked big and fast this offseason, but this all, of course, comes, and we're hoping for a little rebound out of Bryce Young here, right? But he does have the 5th easiest schedule, and Tet McMillan has the easiest 11th schedule, and the running backs have an easy schedule. So maybe Carolina can turn things around, and McMillan will be a big part of that. Moving on to my number 3 and 4th ranked ones, I have Matthew Golden next. Matthew Golden, 5'11", out of 191 pounds, little smaller size out of Texas, but he got the speed to make up for it, that 4.3 speed. 23rd pick overall, first rounder still. Hey, he's ranked 45th. Now, that's the 12th team in passing, 8th team in scoring. So another one going to a good team, all right? Well, it's kind of crowded there, too. Got Jaden Reed, probably. They got him ranked 48th. They've got Golden ranked above him at 45 here. So if Jordan Love and that number 9 easy schedule can turn it around, just get him back to where he was in 2023. Just a year ago, of course, he was injured early last year, Jordan Love. Remember, he missed those couple games, and then he was limping. It didn't really quite was ever himself last year. And, of course, Josh Jacobs did so good. But, hey, team offense was number 5 last year. What a great place for this Golden to land. And, of course, Romeo Doubs here. You guys still have him on here. Had some concussion issues last year. 2 concussions in 1 year. That's not good. So, hey, opportunity knocks for Matthew Golden there in Green Bay, and he'll probably do some good here. Up next is, of course, Travis Hunter. He was the number 2 pick overall. Number 2 pick. Of course, he goes to a team ranked 28, or he's ranked 28th. The team passing was 24th. Team scoring 26th. So, not the best environment to go to, and that's going to be the knock here is having Brian Thomas Jr. already on the team here, who was the 4th wide receiver. And this is on a team that was 24th in passing. So, hey, a lot of sharing here. They brought in Diami Brown, and they paid him $11 million. Solid. He was going to be a solid compliment to Brian Thomas Jr. until they brought in Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter, we'll see how he goes. Hey, for me, this playing both ways. Like right here recently, they just had lost their cornerback, this Brown. Will miss the rest of training camp. Could miss more. Now, my question is, does Hunter now have to fill in a little bit more time on defense, a little less time on offense? Especially if that happens during the year, say they lose another cornerback. That's a different situation there for wide receivers we're not used to. So up next I have, so I moved him down to 4th. I'm not as high on him. Plus with Brian Thomas Jr. there. Good luck. Jaden Higgins I've got next. Right, comes into Houston, 6'4", 215 pounds. The first one they took out of Iowa State here, Houston took 2 of them. Second round, 34th pick overall, top of that second round. Hey, 55th ranked overall, 21st team in passing here. So moves into here. We need, first of all, Nico's the king here. But of course, Nico missed games last year. Look at that. So if they miss 5 games next year, Nico Collins, really the only game in town, Jaden Higgins would fit right in there, let alone already starting probably at the other spot. So you have a GM says you have a receiver his stature and that catch radius just opens up a lot of things offensively, right? Hey, kind of hot. They gave him that first fully guaranteed first second rounder. That created some of the but hey, Houston, if CJ Stroud can rebound, has that second easy schedule, right? And problems in the run game, maybe with Joe Mixon questionable for the start of the season. Obviously Nick Chubb, but if they have to rely on the passing game, you got Nico Collins. This Jaden Higgins would probably be the number 2 here, and Christian Kirk here, who had it pretty down. You see him not going downs. Never really been a true number 1. And Christian Kirk would be good to keep off this Knoll, who I might have coming up here later. So, but anyway, the other one on the other side, this is Deontay Thornton Jr. All right, he's coming in 6'5", 205 pounds out of Tennessee. Was the 108th pick overall, was in the 4th round. Remember, they took another one. So, comes in not ranked. That'll change, I think, as the time goes on here. Of course, they took this Jack Beck, earlier. They took him as a 58th second round. Thornton might have a spot fit in easier than Beck does. Beck's been working more second team, backing up Jacoby Millers and doing the thing. Problem with Beck, who is going to be asked to back up Jacoby Myers and work the middle where Brock Bowers. You got the number 1 ranked tight end work in the middle, and that's where Jack Beck's supposed to operate, where Deontay Thornton been sharing first team reps already with Trey Tucker on that outside deep, can get off press, run past the defensive back, and with that catch radius, 6'5", 205 pounds, going deep. Of course, we got the new quarterback Geno Smith in town. Hey, 4,000 yards, right? I mean, hey, he threw for some yardage, so you got to keep an eye on this Thornton. He might pop, right? Up next, we got Eric Ayomanor, Ilik, and Trey Harris. I got the Ayomanor part right. Comes in, wide receiver for Tennessee, 6'2", 206 pounds out of Stanford. 136th pick overall, right? Well, part of that is, hey, Van Jefferson, kind of weak. Van Jefferson didn't do a whole bunch last year. Look at that. And he's kind of penciled in as their number 2. So if Cam Ward, brought in as that new quarterback for them, right, can get started here with that number 6 easy schedule. That's a pretty good easy schedule. Tennessee will probably be behind a lot. We like that. And Calvin Ridley's you can see here, he's ranked 30th. So, hey, this rookie might get in there and get started and have a good go here. He says, Callahan's already said he'll probably start at the X receiver, but has flexibility to do more than just that. Move him around a bit. He was graded as one of the best receivers coming out. I had him like 8th or 9th, I think. But anyway, I look for him to possibly take off. Trey Harris here for the Chargers. He's another one brought in 6'2", 205 pounds out of Mississippi. 55th pick overall, a little higher. Comes into the 57th rank, but the team's 19th in passing, the Chargers. They're going to try to get that run game going with Ayomanor Hampton. Brought in another rookie there, right? The 19th team in passing. But same here. Ladd McConkey, of course, impressive last year. Finished 11th. All right, but Trey Harris here, hey, could fill in as that number. Going to battle Quentin Johnston, who up and down. Quentin Johnston is Johnston is the first one Roman mentioned when discussing the position about Williams' recent retirement, right? So that cleared some stuff up. Mike Williams, we removed him from the list. So Trey Harris has a better opportunity. Quentin Johnston here, we'll see. They did mention him, but we moved him up to 3rd. Just hasn't done it in the past. So kind of open up there for Trey Harris, but we'll see. How about some opportunity knocking for these two? This is more on where the team currently stands on Jalen Royals. All right, brought in Kansas City, 6 foot, 195 pounds. It's fast, 133rd pick overall. Goes to the 14th team in passing. Well, hey, Xavier Worthy just left with a concussion, and Brown tweaks his ankle again. Brown's always hurt. Worrell's been logging a lot of first team reps with these people missing. Talking about missing here, Rashee Rice going to be suspended. Probably 4 to 6 games. We don't know yet. And hey, so he'll be gone. So they're going to need. And Marquise Brown seems like he's always hurt, right? Look at that last year, what he put out. They brought him back to try it again. He just always seems to be hurt. So, I'm over on Kansas City. And then, of course, Worthy, now with a concussion, hasn't got the biggest frame in the world either here. It's a little speedster at 5'11", 165 pounds. They said he tried to put on a little weight, but hey, this seems to be, if we're going to get a surprise out of one of these, it's just Royals here. Could end up being the one. They're and I think they're going to try to throw more at Kansas City this year. All right? You can see Patrick Mahomes got that 17th middle of the road schedule. But hey, if you got Mahomes, and they've talked about going deep a little bit more, maybe this Royals a fire. Of course, over in San Francisco, we've got issues here too. Juwan Jennings wants a new contract, having problems. Ricky Pearsall's finally practicing. I said he finally practiced the other day, but he's been missing a lot of time. And Demarcus Robinson faces a suspension, so Watkins could find himself in there. All right? This Watkins, seems very much in the mix to be the number 3 or 4, especially as the season begins with Ayuk out. Right? Brandon Ayuk, who knows when he's going to come back and what shape he'll be in when he comes back. Watson looks smooth running these intermediate routes that are a staple of Shanahan's scheme. So he's looked good in practice. Hey, you just never know. He could end up making some meaningful time just because they don't have a lot going on there. So let's move on to a couple more, get a couple more in. Kyle Williams here for New England. You're getting down to where Diggs has looked actually pretty good and looked healthy, right? So this Kyle Williams got some problems here. Patriots drafted a pair of wideouts in 2024. Polk and this Baker, the two combined for just 13 catches. So rookie receivers in New England, I just don't know. Drake May, we're hoping for a little bit better action out of him. They were the 32 team in passing, so we're not going to get too excited about him. And Noel coming into Houston now. Christian Kirk better look out because this guy's a player. He's going to come in. 79th over pick overall. They double dipped Houston in the wide receivers. So I don't know. I think that he's eventually going to play in the slot with Christian Kirk. Kirk already says Jalen's ahead of the curve. He prepares. He's smart. He's playing fast, which I struggled with as a rookie. So that's very nice of Kirk to put out some glowing replacements for probably his eventual replacement. So anyway, a couple more quick here. This Lambert this is the one. Now, if Trey Harris is going to have a problem, it might be this fellow rookie, right? Taken out of Auburn. He was 158, a little deeper, but hey, reports are he's been an early standout in the Chargers training camp. So, and Jalen Lane making some deep catches here already in OTAs. Comes in for the Commanders. So that's more if they have problems. You might hear from him if Terry McLaurin doesn't want to play. I'm not too hyped on Debo. I think his best years are behind him. Noah Brown is back and healthy and practicing. Looks healthy for training camp, so we'll see about that. So Jalen Lane here, deep. Bech, kind of stacked there. I don't know. He's getting off to a slower start than, or I might not have. That's why we already kind of talked about him. And Luther Burton. Well, I expected more out of him, but 6 foot, 206 pounds, kind of a playmaker, 39th overall pick, right? But the problem here is he's been missing time with soft tissue, hamstring, whatever it is, but he's been missing time, and the Bears already got DJ Moore and Odunze up ahead of him, so it'd be kind of hard for him to find some time. Anyway, that's a look at some of them, and let's take a look at this.